Thank you so much. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vijay Ramjatan, CEC28 President. I want to extend a pleasant welcome to all of you. Hope you and your families had a wonderful Thanksgiving break. And if you do celebrate Thanksgiving, either way, we are so happy that so many of you are here tonight. We have 132 stakeholders, heroes, and leaders and volunteers and so many wonderful families and parents and teachers and principals and parent coordinators and parent leaders and of course our amazing superintendent Dr. Tammy Pate, and not forgetting our wonderful hardworking dedicated team of volunteers for our CEC28, our CEC council members. We are so grateful to have all of you in community on this platform, and we also have the amazing Kreyòl Ayisyen, who all of you get all these emails from, right? So that's Kreyòl Ayisyen, and thank you so much for being here. We have a very packed schedule today, which is an amazing lineup of presenters and folks from various parts of our government and also local and borough-wide, city-wide to present to our parents. And I also want to leave enough space for our parents to ask questions. So at this point, I'll call this meeting to order. It's now 6:40 p.m. So at this point, I will just go ahead and do the roll call before we get started. So Vijay Ramjatan, President, I'm here. And we have First Vice President Barbara Williams.
Here.
Second Vice President of CEC28, Elena Aminova.
Here.
Recording Secretary Erica Cooper.
Present.
Treasurer Andy Matus King.
Present.
There he is. Our council member is Ted Chang.
There's two of Teds, so one of them, please unmute.
So he's here, so I'll call back on in a second. Micah Morrison. They're co-hosts, so they can unmute themselves, right?
Yep, hold on. Yep, not Micah. He left and came back. Micah, you can unmute yourself now.
Here.
Thank you, Micah. How about Ted? Ted Chang?
Ted says he can't unmute himself.
All right, all right. Let me see what I could do.
Robert Tamayev.
Here.
Sorry,
Ted.
Howard Pollock.
Present.
And what about Rajwinder Kaur?
Present.
Ted Chang?
I'm here.
We got a full council today. Yay, awesome. I love it. That's amazing. This is beautiful. So once again, welcome to all of you here tonight. Again, due to some previous events that we had where our Zoom was hacked, we had to disable and we had some really bad material shown on our Zoom. We have since upgraded our Zoom to the best we are allowed to by the DOE standards. And we are able to, we have disabled the chat at this point. And also we have made everyone muted, and then we will unmute you as you need to speak. So for all of our wonderful stakeholders in our community, parents, principals, teachers, and everyone else, when there's the public comment section later on, we'll signal when after the speakers to put your name and just put the word speak in caps in the chat. We'll open the chat for 15 minutes or so, and you can write the word speak. And at that point, we'll call a list there for you to ask a question and make a comment. So first and foremost, I would like to introduce our first speaker for tonight. He is the director of the New York City Mayor's Office of Operations. And I will try my best with the name. It's Jeff. And the last name is Tamkete Hassan. I think I did great. Jeff, you can unmute yourself also.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I'll just start off and thank everyone for having me. I appreciate the time. I know all of you are so busy, and we appreciate so much all that you're doing, particularly with our school community in particular, but also just the city as a whole. My name is Jeff Tamkete. I'm the director for the Mayor's Office of Operations, and on most days, I've got a broader portfolio that is kind of the everyday kind of city operations and coordinating amongst agencies. But since the beginning of this pandemic, I've been the testing lead for the city, building up our capacity, kind of figuring out different ways to get testing to different communities. And obviously a big challenge in the beginning, a slow start, but doing a lot more now. And then I wanted to take this time to talk a little bit more about school testing as we kick off and reopen our schools. There are a couple of changes and I want to kind of walk through that. But I think it's important first to just kind of highlight why we're doing the testing. Obviously, we made a commitment as a city to, if we were reopening the schools, we would do it in the safest possible way. And a lot of emphasis has been placed on testing, but I certainly don't want to say that testing is the only thing. It is a component that is supposed to add on to all of the safety measures that are in place in terms of wearing masks, social distancing, even the protocols that we've set up with our situation room for any school closure when any positive cases, unlinked positive cases exist. But for the testing, this is really important for us because it is a way for us to provide extra assurance and understand the prevalence of the disease in the school system and in individual schools. And the reason I use the word prevalence is also because we want to make sure that people understand school testing isn't supposed to catch and find every single person in the school who might be positive. It's actually to present a wide picture and trends to understand if what is happening in the schools, any adjustments we have to make to our policies or protocols, to make decisions, to close so that there isn't further transmission, and to also highlight any particular areas that may need more attention. That's why when we first set it up, it was a weekly testing protocol. Now, obviously, that was when the city was in a lower positivity rate. The state added components where we did weekly testing in certain zones that were higher positivity. Throughout that entire process, whether it was monthly testing or weekly testing, we consistently found that the positivity rates in every single school was low. Across the school system, it was low. It was around 0.28% when we closed the school while the rest of the community was increasing. While there isn't a reason to think that students or school communities in themselves are immune to the disease, it is not true. We also know, though, that nationally and here in New York, we've seen that schools are not areas that have promoted a lot of significant transmission when good safety procedures are in place and when consistent testing is happening. So we're doing this testing to make sure that we've got that good view of the entire system and for individual schools, and we've got these indicators that will help us react. Now, how is that working? We've moved, as we reopen, to weekly testing. And what we are doing within that weekly testing is basically randomly selecting 20% of individuals in the school made up of both students and staff. And we have providers who are traveling to the schools once a week to test. And they set up in rooms within the schools. And thanks so much for the entire school community for kind of welcoming us into these buildings. They swab using a short swab. It's a PCR swab. Some people may have just read in the news of different tests, antigen tests and other things. We're using and maintaining our commitment to the gold standard of testing, which is the PCR testing. The nasal swab, the short swab is still kind of the best way to get the sample. And we're doing that, and we're reporting back results within 48 hours. 86% of the results are actually done within 24 hours, but our commitment was to get it in 48 hours or less. And it is so important for people to participate in that. And so that's why, you know, certainly from an ask on my part is to make sure that we get the word out about why it is important to test, and also why it's important to fill out the consent in advance of the reopening of school, and making sure that word is spread that every parent should be signing the consent for their children to make them available to the testing. It does not mean that they're going to be tested every week. We are doing a random sampling, but it is vitally important to know that whenever we send out a list and people are in the schools, we can test them when we are there. The sample size that we've chosen, 20%, is really to make sure we've got a solid sampling throughout the year. It isn't just for the 1 week, it's kind of for the entire year to see the trend. Our 3 providers are all leaders in the field. We have bioreference labs. They have been doing the testing for the NBA and the NFL. During the NBA bubble, they did all of the testing for the NBA, and for the NFL, they're really experts at kind of moving to different locations to test in that area. We have Somos Community Care. They are an FQHC community provider. They're a network of pediatricians. They're committed to helping. They did a lot of the early testing in houses of worship when we first started up efforts, and they've got a large network across the city. And particularly important, a lot of their providers are trilingual, Spanish and Chinese, Mandarin Chinese. And also we have Fulgent, who is a partner of ours, who have done a lot of innovation around home test kits. We're not using those home test kits in this scenario because we want to make sure we are doing the best testing in the school as possible. But they are our partners, and those are the 3 partners. A lot of questions had been asked previously, and I just want to kind of address a couple of things. Each of our providers are testing. They're taking their results directly to their labs. They are processing them. They are providing results to their portals for anybody to go look. They are very much proactively notifying any positives. And that's their goal. The first focus is if there are any positive, they'll do everything to kind of contact for those positives. The negatives are basically, people are made aware that they can go check the portal to kind of confirm, but there isn't a proactive kind of phone call to try to make sure that a negative result. But for a positive, they'll try 3 times in a day to get the person. And also at that point, that information will relate to the schools and the situation room as well. And each of these providers has very strict privacy and controls on any of the samples and the information. They take their samples, they run the test. They do keep them for about a week or so, just to make sure there aren't any concerns. We have had instances where sometimes a sample has leaked, they didn't get enough, so they need to kind of rerun the test. After that, all the samples are discarded. The information is not kept. And all of the private information is kind of strictly maintained by the situation and the schools. Once it goes into the system, it's kept only for the basis of kind of understanding the individuals and the test and their existing results, and used as they move forward for any other future testing. And I think the other thing, just to understand, and then I'll cut this, is the test results aren't direct. Individual testing results are not shared with the school. Just so people know, in aggregate, we usually know 90 were tested, 1 was positive. They'll know the positive because they have to take action on it, but they won't kind of relay any other individual. All the individuals who are tested and the parents, they get the results and they get the information reported back to them. So once again, I just want to thank everyone for participating in that. It's so vitally important, not just for the schools, but for the entire city. And it's important for us to kind of maintain kind of the school opening when we know that from all the national experts and all the people that we've heard from how important it is and how safe it is. Again, I would very much encourage all of you to keep pushing for consent to be signed. Information is on the DOE website. Consents are available in multiple languages and translated for anyone who needs them. And there are a lot of also updates on that website about what the previous findings were, if you're interested about your own district, about specific schools, or about the school community as a total. So I'll stop there and, make sure that there's a little room for any questions you may have of me. But thank you very much for taking some time to listen to me.
Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. And we hope you stick around because we usually have a public comment section after our presenters. So if you can stick around, please, I'm sure there will be many questions from our council members and parents and all the leaders in the community. So I appreciate it. And thank you so much for making me be here. Thank you. Dr. Tammy Pate, please.
Or unmute. So I was happy to relinquish my speaking time to Jeff. And Jeff, I just want to say thank you so very much for your willingness to be here with us on tonight to provide information. We jointly make a promise that when we are able to gather firsthand information, that we try to provide that to our families, our scholars, and our community partners. And so thank you for helping us be promise keepers on tonight. I only wanted to respond to another connected idea, which is school reopening. As you know, the survey for opting into blended learning has closed. After that time, the announcement made by the mayor to encourage schools to move to a 5-day-a-week program. And if you're not hearing me, you have to do something so I can switch.
It's choppy. It's a little bit
Choppy.
Yeah.
No problem. Let me try to move over. I've got a lot of young adults in the house who are all on for internet access. Hopefully that's a little better. I did just want to just give some overview and to follow up on the mayor's announcement and our chancellor's announcement with regard to returning to school safely. As you know, it was announced, I believe it was on Sunday, that the mayor did make a recommendation that we, one, increase testing across the Department of Education, and that we move towards 5 days a week in-person learning as much as possible. And so that's a whole lot of words to mean we understand that how this is possible, or if it is possible, will be something that needs to be worked on and discovered. And right now, our principals, we met on today, and one of the discussion points was how do we move schools to 5 days a week? And so one, I need to ask for patience because reprogramming in this manner takes time. You don't want us doing something overnight full of glitches and that negatively impacting you and your home, your children's lives. So one, we need patience. And two, you should anticipate that this will, take a bit of time as we try to figure out how to bring students back more frequently than they currently are with the blended model. Earlier, towards the middle end of the summer, we went through the school model process. You participated in that process. Many of you were on committees or you participated in town hall meetings in order to decide collectively what model you would like and what model the school selected to bring students back at the beginning of the school year. That process is going to repeat in an abbreviated fashion. And what has happened is that the 4 and 5 days a week has been added as a chancellor's model. 4 and 5 days a week has been added as a chancellor model. So it will be quicker to move schools to change the model. However, there are lots of things that have to be considered. One being safety within the building around supervision. As you know, staffing has been quite a challenge within this district. I don't need to say that to you, you're experiencing it. Many of you have had children who had one teacher in September and then a different teacher in October. Why? Because if you were in person or blended in person, perhaps that teacher had to go out and now teach remotely. If that is the case, the schools have been spinning on a dime, as they say, which is to say, trying to make the changes as seamlessly as possible. So that will be another experience that you'll have in the coming weeks. school leaders and the SLT and the teams who made the decision the first time around will be in contact with you. Many of you have been engaged in that work already, to think about what model works best for the school and what model they can safely implement given the constraints of teaching and supervisory staff. That's a lot of words to say. We have to make sure we have enough personnel in the building and we have enough space in the building, given social distancing mandates, to bring students back more frequently than they already are. I hope that is clear. Towards the end of the day, we get full of words, and I want to be sure that I am communicating clearly to everyone. And so the short answer, the short comment to all of this, and thank you for the letters you've sent to me. Thank you for the emails that are coming fast and furious. You know that I have continued to say, please be about your business. Please communicate with me, good, bad, indifferent. Please communicate, because if there's something that is, on your mind, something that you are have a challenge with, we need to know it in order to address it. But I want to say preemptively that we are going to do our very best to move as quickly as we can towards increasing the cadence, the frequency of which children can participate in person. But it will take time. It will take time. And so we're excited about this news because it feels to me like it's bringing us one step closer to being back in school. So believe it or not, you can see the grimaces on faces because of the work it will entail. We are in fact happy that we have the opportunity to see our children more frequently, our scholars more frequently, and we know that the best place for them to learn is in that schoolhouse. It was true for you and I, it is true for them. And so, of course, I'm going to be here to answer questions and participate as the meeting goes forward. But I think I'll stop there if that's okay.
Thank you so much, Dr. Payton. Thank you for all the hard work and dedication. I can imagine how it's been, but thank you for being very responsive and doing your part. We appreciate you and we value you in our district. The next speaker we have tonight is the Queensborough liaison from the Office of the New York City Comptroller, Mr. Scott Stringer, and his name is Harris Khan. Harris?
Hi, Mr. President. Thank you so much for the introduction. My name is Harris Khan, Queensborough liaison for Comptroller Scott Stringer. Here to just report out to the CEC about some of the work that we've been doing and some of the issues that we've seen. And I know the CEC has been very proactive in highlighting them too. The opt-in period situation, it really just does not make sense. The controller, he has kids in the public school system. The fact that this decision was made to stop, giving parents the option to opt out, or I'm sorry, opt in. And with all the changes, just even within the past week, we've seen that took place, and still no real answer on this. While citywide, almost every community has talked about this. Almost every parent community has, raised this issue, but we don't get an answer here. So that's one issue. I did want to highlight that this is something that the controller has mentioned way back about the need to make sure we get parents as many options as possible. And it's particularly important in a vacuum where we're seeing, just planning, where we keep seeing situations with planning where we don't know what the plan is. And it's been like this for a very long time. This pandemic is hard enough, and it's definitely hard on municipal governments and state governments, but parents, we've got to focus on the parents too. And for so long in this crisis, it's almost like we're just, watching press conferences and figuring out what the policy is and what the plan is, and not having a plan that can be communicated. And then I think the parents, stakeholders, even elected officials would understand and would rally behind it if there was a plan for all these situations. At this point, we're 8 months into the crisis, and some things need to be worked at. The other thing I do want to mention, as I'm here in the CEC, I know this CEC has been leading the effort for Diwali to be a school holiday. I know the controller supports that fully, and the fact that this is, I think, the first CEC to pass a resolution, very commendable, and definitely the office is excited to see that happen here and monitoring how it happens throughout the other CEC boards too. And I do want to highlight, we talk a lot about equity and access and education. There are students right now in homeless shelters in family shelters across the city who do not even have internet access. And the administration has said that they finally agreed that that should be fixed and they should immediately internet access should be provided. But the timeline they're talking about is basically summer of next year. 1 year is not going to be good for these children. 1 year is not going to be good, and that's another situation where the controller has this was a couple weeks ago, has called on the city to immediately find a way, at least by winter, to find a way to get these students internet access. It's a really bad situation, and we get that folks have to operate under tremendous amount of variables, but these children have been through far more than enough. And 8 months into this crisis, these things shouldn't still be open-ended questions that we're keep highlighting without any conclusive results. I think with that, I'll pass it back to the chair here. But if there's any issues ever, especially with, on this education topics, I know this is a parent community, I'll drop my email address and my phone number here. Please do highlight it. We're always looking at ways to see how we can make sure we're as responsive to parents, and we're laying out real policy suggestions and proposals that can actually make a dent. And, one of them is, I guess that'll be my last thing. One of them is, instead of cutting school budgets, we should be expanding College Now, early college programs in these high schools. We should be looking at how to make college even more accessible. We're in an economic recession that, unlike any other recession, has targeted low-income wage earners. And the only institution in the city that can upskill those workers is going to be CUNY. And instead of cutting opportunity programs like ASAP, which was proposed by the administration, we should be expanding College Now, making sure students are as ready as possible to go to college, and then make sure two-year college is absolutely tuition-free. And it used to be tuition-free in the 1970s. After open admissions, when Black and brown students predominantly started coming in, things changed in the city and state. We also happened to be in a fiscal crisis at that time. We are in a fiscal crisis now, and we've seen that to cut education in a moment like this will not solve us, will not do us well. What will also not do us well is cutting the sanitation budget, which the controller has also talked about. But with that, I'll leave and I'll drop my information in the chat box. Please do feel free to reach out. Our office is always looking to collaborate. Thank you.
So much, Harris. Thank you for being here. And there's a survey that your office is doing, correct?
Yes, so I guess I'll also drop that. So my info and then a survey. The survey's related to what I just talked about. This pandemic has really changed everything, and we're trying to figure out how does this affect parents and employees. What are employers doing in this environment? The state passed some paid family leave legislation early in the crisis. We're also using the survey to figure out, do people know about it? How is it really trickling down? And we're going to use the data in the survey to identify policy recommendations. So please do fill out. I will say, I will disclose that it seems like Queens is underrepresented in our sample size so far. So CEC28, help us out here, get some Queens representation. So please do feel free to fill it out. I'll put it in the chat. It's in Spanish and English.
Thank you. And we'll have it on our website also, so our residents and our community can go and fill it out. And well, we would love to hear a report sometime soon once the survey is done, what you all found out. That so it'll be good to be informed as well. Thank you so much. Before we move to the next speaker, I just want to try to call on Sonia Rueda from the district office to just fill us in if there's anything that she feels. Whatever Sonia has to say, we should be listening. Sonia is an encyclopedia. So Sonia Rueda, please tell us your title and take it over, please. So I know she's on. Can she unmute herself? I think you're looking for her, right?
Okay, good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here always. I think just in keeping the theme of our previous speakers, from the parent corner of District 28, our goal is always to address any concerns from families, from community stakeholders, just in general. So we've been getting a lot of questions from everything about testing to programs to busing to, of course, remote learning devices. So we are doing our best to address all of those issues. And I echo my superintendent's word, patience is really what we're echoing and saying, please, We are trying the best that we can to address all of your issues. So please continue to email us, leave us messages on our phones. We are responding to every single call and making sure that we address every person that contacts us. On that same line of voice and parent concerns, we are now complete with all of our elections, because again, having those parent representatives at the table is so important. We have done all our PAPTA elections. We've wrapped up also our leadership teams. So again, that's why we've been a little bit behind in terms of getting our calendars and everything out. We finally have our teams in place. We are now finally looking at our Title I parents and representation. So we're looking to make sure that voices at every single level at the table, they're there in place and ready to represent your schools, your community with our support. We also wrapped up 12 sessions of training in 2.5 weeks. It is training that we usually do in September and finish in November. We were committed along with President's Council and high school to do it in 2.5 weeks. And so we are excited to be able to offer our community any opportunity for resources, for supports, to network, to vent. You know, it's not just about training, it's about really just asking each other questions. And there's a lot of knowledge in this room. Parents don't realize the wealth of knowledge that they bring and experience. So it's really been a great opportunity to really foster that community, that relationship. And always I will put my my information along with my colleague Rosa Fenton, but we are here, always ready and excited to continue to do this work, this very challenging work that can only be done if we do it together as a community. So thank you very much.
And you are, can you please tell us your title?
Oh, I'm the Family Leadership Coordinator for District 28. My colleague Rosa Fenton is the Family Support Coordinator, but we work interchangeably. We're just here to support our families and our stakeholders. So thank you, Vijay.
Thank you so much, and thank you for all the work you have done so far and continue to do. Thank you so much. And one thing I'll say about Sonia, she sees things through. So she don't pick up 10 different things and all halfway done. So parents, all of you who are here, you need something, you got to figure something out, email her, she sees it through. So that's amazing. Thank you, Sonia. You are valuable to our community. The next speaker we have tonight is our Queens South High School Superintendent, the acting superintendent right now, Cynthia Schneider, and she will take over this time. Thank you so much for coming today. We appreciate that.
Thank you so much. I love being able to speak to CECs because you all form the foundation of our work in high school, because they go through elementary, middle, and they come to us. So we're very fortunate in District 28 because it is the highest performing of all 3 of our districts. The high schools do a fantastic job. And I'm always reminded of my granddaughter, who, when she went into kindergarten, I called her right away because we don't live in the same state. And I said to her, Ava, what did you like about your first day of school? And she thought about it and she said, lunch. Now, I'm an educator, and the fact that she loved lunch had me worried right away. This is not a good start. So then I said, all right, I can understand that. So what is it about lunch that you appreciated? What was it? And she said, because I got to carry my own tray. And she was so impressed with herself, acting so big and bad, you know, in kindergarten. And I'm reminded of that story all of the time because Ava was talking about what all of our kids need at every level. And that is the power and confidence to know that it's up to them and that they have opportunities presented, and we want them to feel that they are in charge, that they're doing what they need to do. And it is no more apparent and necessary at any other level than in high school. High school kids really need to be appreciated for their future and actually present ability to change the world. And that's what we want for all of our kids, is to see themselves as real change agents in the world that they live in. So our vision and mission in the high school is every learner future ready. At no other time is it more important for kids and families to understand what the future is going to look like, and what their agency is with that. And we have many goals. I'm not going to take up time taking you through all of the goals, but they do revolve around achievement. You know, our goal always is to improve graduation rates. It's always to make sure that college readiness is climbing and getting better every year, so that we know that kids are getting everything that they need to leave our high schools and be really successful in their future lives. But this year, we've also been concentrating a lot on social emotional learning and the kinds of supports that our schools are providing through advisory, through restorative justice circles, and all of those practices that help our kids deal with the trauma that they're going through. You all know, you know, our goal really is to reduce trauma and to really help students deal with all the racial injustice and how that affects their achievement and what all that's about. So that's a major focus of what we're doing. We're also working very hard. I already mentioned graduation rate and credit accrual and all of that, but we're also working on literacy across the curriculum. Writing is crucial in the high school, as is reading. Kids don't read enough, they don't write enough. And so our goal is to continue improving literacy across all grades and all courses. And we also have made a really distinct purpose in really improving remote learning. Our spring work with remote learning, because it was so immediate, you know, in March, suddenly we're remote. What does that look like? And there were some schools that had Google Classroom and were used to that, but a lot of them who were not as tech savvy as they needed to be. It took time. I love Dr. Pate talking about patience, and it takes time. We're in a much better spot now than we were before. And we're looking forward to what's going to continue to happen as we move to more and more work. In all of our high schools, we have synchronous learning nearly every day. And that's a very good thing. The kind of contact that kids have with each other and their teachers is supremely important. But beyond that, we really want to, and are focusing with our school leaders and with our lead teachers, is on curriculum and what is it that our kids are doing in those classrooms. I mean, that's really crucial. What are we assessing? We didn't have regents last spring. We didn't have regents last summer. January regents were canceled. So we're focusing a lot on assessment. How do you progress monitor high school students when there is no culminating exam that they're used to? So we're working to make sure that we're still able to pull really good achievement data from common assessments that schools have and that we have across the portfolio. So we're working on things like teaching our high school leaders how to run holistic writing assessments so they can get a sense of what the universe of writing is like in their buildings. And that takes some real concerted effort to do that. And then, of course, we always want to make sure that we're communicating with parents and the communities that we're in. Unlike a community school district, the high school district covers all 3 Queens South districts. So we are in District 27, 28, and 29. And so we have a big span, a big space to cover. Now, by the numbers, the high school 4-year graduation rate in District 28, the average across the entire district is 91.65. That is a really phenomenal rate. Our four-year college readiness index, which really looks at Regents' performances, is at 75.79. So again, it's an average. So we have some schools that are really high and some that are not, that are growing. In 28, they're all getting better, but that's a nice average of 75.9, but we want it better. The CCPCI index, the College and Career Preparatory Course Index, is 71.83. This measures the courses that are advanced courses. It measures and gives them credit for the number of advanced placement classes that they're offering. It gives them credit for the College Now courses, and we're encouraging more and more of our kids to make sure that they're in College Now. We're looking for increasing the rigor of courses, and we begin to see those numbers increasing as well. So the high schools look really good in District 28. The next two slides give you specific graduation rates for each of our District 28 high schools. And you can see how all of the schools, Queens Collegiate is at the Jamaica campus, and all of the schools at the Jamaica campus are in the 80s and 90s. So they are performing really well at Jamaica. Hillside Arts and Letters is also at the Jamaica campus, and their graduating rate is 93%. Jamaica Gateway is also at Jamaica, 90%. And then we have, the rest of them, Forest Hills, 91%, Edison, CTE at 94%. And on the next slide, you'll see that we have graduation rate for Queens Gateway. Queens Gateway is a screen school, and is, they have a 97% graduation rate. All of their kids as seniors are taking college courses. Queens Metropolitan is at 90%. Queens High School for the Sciences at York College is at 100%. They have 100% grad rate. They have 100% in all the college readiness rates as well. They are a specialized high school that you need the exam to get into. Good to know that they are working really hard at increasing the diversity of their students to make sure that there's plenty of equity. And so it's a continual push on that. And then High School for Law Enforcement and Public Safety is at 84%. And so the District 28 high schools are doing well. This time of year, however, is extremely important because we're looking at admissions, preparing for welcoming our next class of ninth graders to the high school. And while there has been no date that's put forward yet on applications, now is the time that parents really need to think about and with their student the kind of school that they want to go to, what sort of high school is in their mind. High schools are unlike community districts again in that any high school student can go anywhere in the city. They get an application, they can put up to 20 schools on their application, and they can really go anywhere. But the goal for you with your students would be to find the right learning match for your student. It really needs to be a good match. That's what the admission process is. It's like speed dating, but not. It's finding the right match for your student. And there are solid choices throughout all of Queens South and solid choices, as you can see, in all of District 28. So now's the time when people should be researching the possibilities. I'm a fan of Emily Dickinson, who once said, dwell in possibility. And that's where we are. You can do your research on the possibilities. So as you think about getting ready to make those applications, you want to consider some things. And so what, first of all, are your child's interests and passions? And you have to really go in and look at schools to find out where those interests and passions might be found. You have to think about size. Do you want a large comprehensive high school like Forest Hills? Or would you prefer one of the smaller schools on the Jamaica campus that are all, successful? So what kind of size are you looking for? What about a theme? Is it important that the school have a theme that your student is interested in? Law enforcement, for example, is directly tied with the NYPD, but also public safety. So they have partnerships with FDNY and with a lot of other places. So your theme is important. Check out the websites of all of these schools. They all have fantastic websites, and on there you'll find remote open houses, you'll find videos, you'll be able to see what it's actually going to be like. So really check out the websites, that's important. And when virtual open houses come up, make sure that you're able to do that as well. So when you go to the website, note when their open houses are. There will be at least 2 to 3 per school in December. And then in January, there will be more. Consider what transportation is necessary. We said you could travel anywhere, but it's one thing to say, I really want this school in Astoria, but I live I live in Far Rock, and what kind of a commute is it going to be? And how will that affect your students' work? What are the buses? And so you need to consider transportation. As you look at websites, also go to the data and performance part of the on the NYC DOE website, and check out what are the schools' survey responses, for example. What does it seem like parents and students are saying? Consider curricular options, co-curricular options. Are there sports? Are there fine arts? Is that important to you or is it not? And if there are any other special programs that you're really interested in. So the process, also consider, I'm talking about the high school process, but we also have in Queens South 6 to 12 schools. So they are also taking middle schoolers in the 6th grade. In District 28, Queens Collegiate at the Jamaica campus is a 6 to 12, and they onboard their students in 6th grade. Queens Gateway to the Health Sciences Secondary School, which is a specialized school, also is 6 to 12. And then there are 4 others in the next slide. There are 4 other schools in Queens South that are 6 to 12 schools. Academy of Medical Technology, Pathways, Preparatory Academy for Writers, and Eagle Academy for Young Men 3. They're all 6 to 12 schools. And if you want admissions, while most of them also take 9th graders, if you have a middle schooler, you might want to think about the 6 to 12. I was a principal of a 6 to 12, and I personally love that model because it gives us 7 years with kids and you can really see major changes. It's wonderful. No deadline has been put out yet for applications. No applications have been put out yet. So just sort of keep your eyes peeled for what that is and what that looks like. The last slide, I believe, is our staff, and all of us are available should you need anything. Sonia, I know, has this phone numbers for our family support coordinator, Evelyn Ruiz, and Selena Gale's family leadership coordinator. And I just want to give a shout out to Sonia because she works so much with our family support people, and they do many things that are combined, and they collaborate really well, and they do a fantastic job. Thank you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Thank you so much for being here. That was so informative. We've had a lot of our dear community. You have been asking a lot of questions about high school, and we know we have a lot of parents who have kids in middle school or primary school and also going to high school. So it was important for us to bridge that gap, and we did an amazing job. There are a lot of parents here who was hoping for something like this, And we thank you for doing exactly that and bringing the news to us. We would love to have you back again very soon. Update us on new dates and updates, etc. Thank you so much for being here. And please stick around. We would like to have questions later on. We appreciate that.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Next, I'd like to call on Bibi Matadin, who is also our face rep, and she's on the call tonight. Bibi, is there anything quickly you'd like to let us know about that we missed so far? Any updates, Bibi?
Thank you, VJ. Trying to wait to get unmuted. Good evening, everyone. It's great to see you and thank you for the opportunity. Just a couple of updates from FACE. I want to quickly share that we were so excited because we launched the Parent University November 23rd, and that was shared in the email from us. This is a platform that allows our parents to access courses and resources, and they'll get a certificate right after. So they have like over 125 courses they can choose from. That Parent University seeks to educate and empower all our families from early childhood through adulthood with free courses, resources, events, and activities. Parents can register for free trainings, of course, on a wide range of topics, adult education, student social emotional learning, and special education. Please feel free to visit the site. It's parent.schools.nyc, and you can register through your NISCA account. I also want to quickly share that on the 8th, we will be having a FACE citywide training to talk about our comprehensive education plan. That training will be at 10 a.m. Links will be going out, and I will also share that in the chat for everyone. And the Chancellor will be having a town hall with CEC2 on December 8th as well. That starts at 6:30. So please join us on these platforms for more information and updates. We also will be sending out a one-pager with resources and links and how to support your child in remote learning. These are quick access links to the IT help desk, and I'm happy to report our help desk has extended hours. We now have hours from 6:30 in the morning to 9 p.m. and they are from Monday through Saturday, so parents can have the support they need. Thank you, VJ.
Thank you, Bibi, for all the great work you do, and we appreciate you as part of our team. You are one of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, you're very welcome. Next, we're going to have the UFT representative, the amazing, very, very efficient, I would say, Angela Artist. Please take it over, Angela.
Thank you, VJ. It's
You're
nice
welcome.
to see so many faces. For those of you who don't know me, I am Angela Artist, and I am the UFT representative for District 28 for elementary schools and middle schools. So again, thank you for the invitation. So what I was asked to do is just kind of bring up to date what the UFT has been doing this school year. And basically the focus has been a couple of things. One, obviously, on the safety for the return of students and staff for in-person learning. So this was very, very important to us because we know how important it is for our students to be in school because it's the best way for them to learn. But we had to make sure that was done in a safe fashion. So we had teams that we trained going into the schools starting the end of August, all the way through the opening of a school in September. And those teams were looking for a lot of things. First of all, they were looking to make sure that the availability of PPE was actually in the school, not en route, not on the way, but actually there. So we wanted to make sure that there were face masks there for the children, face masks for adults, to make sure that there were face shields, gloves, gowns, all those things that we know now are necessary to keep people safe. We wanted to make sure that there was hand sanitizer in each classroom, available also throughout the building, to make sure that there were cleaning supplies there, the electrostatic sprayers that had to be delivered to the schools, to make sure that they were there, to make sure that the tablets were there, so the sprayers could actually be used. We also wanted to make sure that there was proper ventilation in the classrooms, that the windows were opening, that there was airflow. We trained people to actually go in to make sure that that was happening. We wanted to make sure there was a nurse in every building because we know that sometimes nurses were not available daily in every building. They may be shared amongst buildings. So we wanted to make sure that there were nurses in every building, that they had their proper PPE and the things that they needed. And in addition to that, we were advocates for the testing and the tracing because we knew how important that was going to be. So it was good to hear the speaker from the mayor's office to give some more information about the testing because we actually had a chapter leader meeting earlier this evening, and that was quite the topic of conversation. People really wanted to, be certain about the changes in the testing and things that are happening, the difference in the zones. So it was important to hear that information from him, and that's something that I can pass on as well. And to oversee all of that, we also wanted to make sure that there were building response teams in place in each school, and that they were going to, be in charge of overseeing all the things that I talked about to make sure that those things were intact and make sure there was proper supplies always in the school, and also the signage that was in the school to make sure that that's available as well. And then from week to week, just trying to keep up with the changes and things that are happening, to make sure that everybody who's in person is safe. In addition to that, obviously, we have many parents who opted to have their children stay home for remote learning. So we also have to make sure that that virtual learning experience is a good experience as well. So we have ongoing training for teachers to make sure that they are supported. For many, we were thrown into this in March, it was kind of sink or swim, but when it was obvious that this was going to be ongoing for who knows how long, it was just important that we make sure that we have ongoing training for our staff. So our teacher center is phenomenal. They have ongoing, we've always done it in person, interactive, hands-on for years, but now it was time to switch gears and to make sure that online learning and training professionally was available for them. So that's something that we do. We just had a Jamboard training this week for teachers. We have a flip guard training next week, flip grid next week for teachers. So there's ongoing things that are just happening because we have to, we have to make sure that everybody is as comfortable as possible so that our children are getting the best education possible. So we continue to do that. We also have a Dial Teacher program that is a free program for students, parents, and guardians. And it's a telephone after school program Mondays through Thursdays from 4 to 7 p.m. For anywhere from K through 12, where there are teachers available to support students for English, for math, for science, and for social studies, working them through problems, not just giving them answers, but working them through problems. So that's important. That's something that is ongoing. I can put the phone number and the email in the chat for anybody who wants to see that, so I will do that. But also important is that we have establishments with our community and our parents. So each of our boroughs has a parent and community liaison that works with parents and works with the community. And for the Queen's office, our liaison is Ms. Delcy Rodriguez. And so I thought it was important to bring her here with me this evening so that she could also share some information with you. So if you could unmute Delcy's microphone, she's going to be up next. And thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. How are you? Thank you for the invitation. Thank you, Angela, for the introduction. My name is Delcy Rodriguez. I'm the parent and community liaison for the Borough of Queens. Aside from Dial Teacher, there are other resources, organizing, advocacy, and support that we offer parents and the community. One of the things that I'm gonna put it on the chat, I'm gonna send as well as providing this link. The U of T is providing a 3-week, every Saturday, starting this Saturday, an enrichment and enhancement program free of charge for students from K to 12. And there are 2 sessions every Saturday at 9:15 and 11:15. I'm gonna post that link. So please, I encourage all the parents to encourage their children. These courses are going to support and enhance what they are learning now when we're talking about virtual learning, and also a lot of social emotional supports for the children as well. And it's free of charge. And I'm going to put the link on the chat, as well as that we do anti-bullying workshops, dialect teacher, as well as advocacy and support for parents and communities in all the schools. Thank you for giving me this time to speak to you guys.
Thank you so much to both of you for coming out tonight and talking to us. You know, you all like resources for all of our parents, and we're looking forward to that Saturday sessions where our families can connect to all these resources, especially in these times. So our administrative assistants, Kreyòl Ayisyen, will reach out to you, Angela, and to Delcy to get like a little flyer kind of thing to put all those things in one place to make it very accessible and easy for our parents to go to our website, UFT resources. Click on that. All the information will be there, and then we can have a monthly update from all of you via email, etc. So we can have our families can have the most up-to-date information a click away. Yeah, thank you so much, both of you, for being here. Very informative, and it's great to see. Thank you so much. So next, we're going to have our CEC member reports, and before we jump into that really quickly, I just want to take this moment to highlight our principals. I am so delighted to see so many of our principals here on tonight, and also our parent coordinators. You know, when we were in person and we were having like at the building, we never had so many principals. Principal Signal was one of those who was always there every meeting. So I want to just make sure I know that. But we have Principal Sarachi and all those other ones will be there. But now on this platform, how amazing it is that we as parents have the principals of our schools here to hear our concerns. So really quickly, I want to shout out really quickly here. We have Principal, let me go for the top, Principal Sandusky, Principal Lau, Principal Jill Holder, John Greco, Katiana Lusant, Principal Kelly, Principal Cassandra Cox, Principal Burns, Riva Schneider, thank you for being here. Principal Rena Manjares is here. Robin Signal, Principal Tanya Howell, Principal Tiffany Hicks, Vincent Sarachi is here. And I know there's a few more of you here who we have not renamed, but we will get to you. And sooner or later, we want to like also get the parent coordinators information so we can put PC before your name so that we can highlight you, because you are the ones who we reach out to. So thank you so much for being here, all our principals and parent coordinators. We acknowledge you. We thank you for being here. Please keep coming every meeting. Thank you. So now we're going to have the council member reports. First, we're going to start off with our list of members. I'm going to ask you to please present the report if you have one. First, we're going to call on First Vice President Barbara Williams.
Nothing at this time. Thank you, VJ.
Thank you very much. I want to acknowledge that Barbara Williams was also elected this past month to be the co-president of President's Council. She's also our first vice president here in the CEC. So big, air applause to Barbara. And also her co-president will be Jessica Zillo. So those are the two newly, Jessica's continuing and Barbara is joining her as co-presidents of President's Council. So we are so delighted about that partnership and also looking forward to many more. Second Vice President, Elena Amenova.
Good evening, everyone. Good to see so many faces. I did want to just acknowledge that as part of the Back to School Committee, we are continually evaluating what's going on with our schools and the testing aspect of it. I know that we heard earlier from a few of our presenters specifically about the importance of filling out those testing forms for those kids that are going back to school, but also the uncertainty about, the middle schools, right, that are not opened and everybody is remote. So we know that elementary schools are opening and the details are still being figured out, but the middle schools and high schools are still fully remote. What that means long term is a lot of uncertainty still, and we ourselves are looking for answers on your behalf. So hopefully as soon as we know, we'll share it. And I'm sure we'll hear it just as you will from the announcements, right? Dr. Pate is shaking her head as well. And it was great from hearing from Mr. Harris Khan about the importance of College Now at the college level and having the interim superintendent for high schools South as well, because again, all of our middle school kids are going to high schools, right? But the uncertainty about the specialized high schools testing or the lack of it this year is also something that's creating anxiety among the parent community. I also wanted to bring up one more thing, that at the last CEC meeting, there were a lot of parents that have reached out with concerns that we have discussed with the business meeting that there were a lot of videos and a lot of musical, I guess, time that have been taken on. We have heard you. Hopefully today you do hear and see a lot of great speakers and presenters that provide you valuable content. So we do hear you, and please know that your voice matters, and continue contacting us either through email or whatever means that you do, because we are here to support you. Thank you so much. Vijay, back to you.
Thank you so much, Elena, and the Back to School Committee. Recording Secretary Erica Cooper.
Yes, hello everybody. As VJ said, my name is Erica Cooper, and I want to first start off by just thanking everybody for their presentation. And we learned a lot today. We talked about the pandemic, we talked about high school, we spoke on several different topics, but there's one topic that I want the district to understand that we did not forget, and that's about what happened in October with the Zoom bombing and the racial attack that was put on African Americans. So Oxford Dictionary defined racism as a prejudice or discrimination directed against someone of a different race, based on the belief that that person believes his own race is superior. That sounds like a simple definition of a complex problem. And I just want you to know that we as the District 28 Council takes it very seriously. And I want to thank Howard Pollack, who would discuss that he took further on identifying this issue and taking it further so that we are filing a complaint with the 113 precinct. Because as the South Superintendent said, our kids need to see themselves as a change agent. But how can they see themselves as a change agent when they are faced with these racial attacks? So it will not be tolerated at District 28. So I just want to say thank you about that. And also, since we have all our principals here, you should have received some emails from our administrative, Crystal, on your liaison for the school. So we are asking to join some of your SLT meetings. I myself will be attending 2 of my school's liaison SLTs on December 15th and 16th. So I look forward to that. And that's it.
Thank you so much, Erica. Thank you so much. Our member is Ted Chang, and also he has a resolution that he is presenting today, also a brief resolution, because we had put the link on our meeting notice. So who wanted to read the full length of the resolution could have done so before tonight's meeting. So Ted will go through the resolution very briefly, tell us about it, and also if he has anything to report. Mr. Ted Chang. You can't unmute. You should have, Erica, Elena will take care of that. We got you. 1 second.
Okay, here we go.
All right. You're muted again. There it is.
Okay. Let's hope that works. Thanks, everyone. And I'm presenting a resolution tonight on in-person learning for vulnerable students. And so I guess what I'll do is I'll just kind of walk everyone through it a little bit. The reason I wrote this resolution was because, just thinking about the impact of remote learning and COVID-19 and the pandemic, it's kind of been brewing in my mind, but it was really at a meeting a few weeks ago where I was sitting, with some other parent leaders and teachers, and we heard that, there were students in temporary housing here in our district who still don't have a way to attend remote learning classes. And that was like, and we're talking November 2020, and that really made it hit home for me. The persistent inequalities that exist in real life. I mean, it's just the reality of our extremely socioeconomically and racially diverse school district of New York City. We serve 1.1 million students, and people come from so many different backgrounds and circumstances, and we have to serve every single child. And I guess in a way, to me, I feel like, what happened in the spring, where with the George Floyd killing, and it's not that criminal justice issues weren't always there all along. They've been there. I mean, we all remember Mike Brown and Eric Garner, and there's so many other names that just the list goes on infinitely. But Those issues have been there and they've been persistent, but every once in a while, something comes along that really wakes us all up and forces us to look at ourselves as a society and see what we can do to address those things. And I think George Floyd was one of those issues, and that really kind of brought a lot of attention to the criminal justice issues that had been kind of simmering. And I think COVID-19 in a way, and the pandemic in a way, could do the same thing for the New York City school system. Because I think a lot of these inequalities that have existed, the challenges that students have faced for years, they've been persistent. We have students in temporary housing and students in foster care. We have so many different groups that have persistent challenges. And we like to think of, schools as these places of equal opportunity where we level the playing field. But the reality is that, like, how much do we actually level the playing field in schools? And I think of this moment as a perfect example of where that might not actually be happening. We have students, even in November 2020, who their only way to participate in school is through things that are sent to them in the mail, and I just think that really needs to be a moment of awakening for those, of course, like, I'm on the CEC, so I pay attention to this stuff, but most of us are just regular parents and we just participate in our school communities. And so the issues of these, the issues that all of different students face may not be always apparent to us as individual parents who within our own particular circumstances, and within our own school communities. But I really think that this is a moment where we need to take a hard look at the New York City school system and all the different students that we are trying to serve, and just reflect on that and realize that we need to do better. And that, and I think all of us have been struggling in remote learning. I don't know a single parent who's not complained about remote learning. I mean, everyone, and some people are actually like it in some ways, but the vast majority of people are complaining, right? So I totally get that. I myself have been, struggling. At the same time, some people are struggling more than others, and obviously if you don't have Wi-Fi, you're probably struggling a lot more than someone like me. If you have a chaotic environment because you're in a shelter, or because you are actually, your child is attending remote learning from your workplace because you can't afford to leave your child at home and you bring them to work with you. There are just a lot of different struggles that may be invisible to us that are real, and that those things impact, how kids do in school. And so we just need to, I really want us to use this as a moment to think about what we can do for those kids. And their parents may not be here at the CEC, so I don't know that anyone, I don't think I can recall a parent of a student in temporary housing coming to the CEC and speaking at one of our meetings, or, so I just, I think that those are real issues that we need to consider. So in terms of remote learning, what this resolution is about is just simply asking city and state authorities and the Department of Education to really focus on vulnerable students in temporary housing, students in foster care, students with disabilities, and not just District 75 schools, which are sort of specialized schools just for students with disabilities, but also our students in regular district schools that are in self-contained classrooms, ICT classrooms, or in regular classrooms. And there's a wide range of those needs. And just trying to, the mayor announced 5-day in-person learning. And I just want us to think about in this moment, if we are going to be doing 5-day in-person learning, how could we really do something about some of these persistent inequalities? And to me, the most logical thing to do is to give those opportunities on a needs priority basis. And there are clearly some students who are literally not attending remote learning right now because they do not have internet or a device. Those students should be in a school 5 days a week. Students with disabilities, and particularly students in self-contained classrooms with very high needs. Some of those students, their IEPs are really designed around the idea that they need to have consistency. And for them to be going in and out of remote learning, I think is probably a big struggle. And I think we all know, the experience that I know just from some friends of ours who have a child in a Horizon program for autistic students, the experience, what I've seen is that, when you really give a child exposure to the services they need at an early age, you can really make a huge difference in that child's life. And so we have parents who want their children to be getting the services that are they're legally required to get, but they can't right now because of the whole remote situation. And of course, we all understand why that is, but I just think, let's put some attention to that. If there's going to be some 5-day in-person or even 3 or 4 days, let's give it to the students on a needs priority basis, because I think that's something that we can all agree. There are students that are vulnerable and they need additional help. And, I just think that would go a tremendous way. I also just briefly just want to mention, in addition to that, that the vast majority of students are in remote learning right now, and including many vulnerable students who cannot attend in person because of a variety of reasons, like they might have a caregiver who is at risk at home. So there's a lot of reasons why they cannot attend in person. And we also need to do something as a city to figure out how to improve remote learning, because I think everyone agrees it's really tough. And although we need to serve the students that we can in person, let's do something about whatever we can. I don't know what that is. I don't have the answer, but let's start a discussion and let's figure out how we can improve remote learning, and let's just do something, because I think a lot of the conversation has been about reopening, and we also need to have a serious conversation in the city about what we can do on remote learning.
Thank
so
you.
We're going to be talking about this resolution in the business meeting, and we'll vote on it at that point. But of course, you can give your comments during public comment. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ted, for that thorough presentation. Next we have is Robert Tamayev, council member. Anything to report? Next, we have, okay, here he is. Robert. Okay, I think he's already having connection issues, so we'll come back to him. Howard Pollock.
Thank you, VJ.
Sorry.
Robert, I'm not sure if you can hear me, but you're not coming off clearly. So I'll have Howard go, Roger Winder, and I'll come back to you, please. Thank you. Howard Pollock, please.
Thanks, VJ. Always good to see my colleagues. Always good to hear from our great superintendent, Dr. Tammy Pate. To piggyback on comments that Erica made, we were not satisfied as a CEC regarding the NYPD's response to our Zoom bombing incident. I had the flash drive of the incident reviewed by the Detectives Bureau of the NYPD, who quote unquote found the whole incident disturbing. The bottom line is this incident can be reported by any affected person, and that means anyone who was on the call that felt threatened, offended, something of that nature. Furthermore, when VJ went to make a complaint, he was told he was not a person of color, therefore he cannot make a complaint. That was an absolute erroneous statement. Race is not a requirement to making any complaint. Therefore, in light of all these things, I am proud to note that CEC member Erica Cooper will be presenting a flash drive at the 113 to make an official complaint to the precinct armed with the email from the Detectives Bureau from the NYPD. And I am assured that there will not be any problems. And if there are, we'll go straight to the Detectives Bureau again. Thank you to Erica for proactively doing this. Thank you to Crystal, our administrative assistant, for distributing those flash drives to all those NYPD officers. Additionally, a comment regarding I'm also on the Back to School Committee and the Equity Committee. I wish that Dr. Pate was on the TV instead of the mayor when he makes announcements about 5 days a week, and that most students will be in school 5 days a week, and that's a direct quote, because Dr. Pate was much more rational and reasonable, because parents cannot expect their children to be in school 5 days a week next week. And if you listen to the mayor, you're going to get an idea that that's the case. And that's absolutely untrue. Dr. Pate was absolutely right. It's going to take time. And her statement should be broadcast because it's the truth. You can't expect kids to be in school 5 days a week in light of social distancing, in light of staff, not staff cutbacks, but the fact that a lot of staff have received accommodations that they're at home, and rightly so. To my colleagues, to the parents that are on the CEC, I want you to know that this CEC will be monitoring this very carefully. We will ask Dr. Pate as time goes on for a report on where our schools stand in terms of 5 days a week. Dr. Pate has always been accommodating, always transparent. We value her and we listen to her. And I want all the parents on the call to be assured that we will stay on top of this issue. Thank you very much. Back to you, VJ.
Thank you so much, Howard. Thank you so much. Next, we have Andy Meadas King. Andy, you have 5 minutes, sir.
Yes, VJ. Good night, everyone on the CDC board. Good night, Dr. Pate. Good night, everybody that made a contribution. My buddy Ted, man, you always bring so much butterflies when you speak, man. You speak with value, and the resolution I definitely support it. As everyone on the CDC would have known of the with like Elena and everybody said, the racial injustice that I would have personally been through with my daughter at the Louis Armstrong School. And VJ, man, I could imagine how that felt when you were told that you're not of color to make that report. I could imagine how you felt with that. I mean, is in 2020 the police is actually saying something like that? Man, I can't believe that, man. I can't believe that. But I would have touched on some of the issue about our children not having access to internet. I was down in Guyana as VJ, you know, I regularly report and would share with the CDC of some of the stuff that I'm doing and some of the help that I'm doing. And in 2020 in New York City, we boast about the best city in the world, the city that never sleeps. We boast about all our economical wealth and everything. And we still have a lot of children without simple access to internet. That's a shame. That's terrible. For the board to say that we're working with those children and we will get through to them until next year, September, then these children is going to be looked after. That is totally unacceptable. Dr. Pate have been doing a wonderful job. I mean, I cannot stop commenting Dr. Pate on all of the work that she's doing. I mean, she's doing such a wonderful job. We on the CDC, we are like family. We are like brothers and sisters, and we share all of our views, and we value it very, very hard. But as an individual who actually worked with less fortunate children through sports, I can speak of volume of how vulnerable a lot of these children are. A lot of parents have lost their job. They cannot afford basic rent. Can you imagine how many millions of people are there for eviction once this eviction expire in December, January? Some of these same children will be able to go. Now, I also is not a fan of the school, the 5-day learning school, because under the Bloomberg administration, a lot of schools were broken up and there's a lot of schools in one building. How is that going to work out? I don't know if anybody look into that, but I don't know how that 5 days going to work with all of those schools in one building.
Time check.
I don't know how that's going to go. So there's a lot of stuff that we look into. They have a lot of children with underlying condition, like my children, they have asthma. It's an underlying condition. That's a respiratory condition, and the COVID-19 is respiratory. What are we going to do for those children? Because my children is not going to school. I'm telling you that straight up. They're not going back into school because they have underlying condition. And it's terrible. And I back Ted and I back Howard and all of my colleagues. We're going to monitor in this situation.
Thank you.
We're dependent on Dr. P to do her, to continue to do her wonderful job that she's doing. And VJ, as the president, you're doing a wonderful job. And to everybody on the panel today, all the principal, all the people, we need your support. We need to stand up and look for what is right. Also, VJ, I want to commend you on the first CDC board to pass the Diwali resolution. Congratulations to you, man. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
That's it for me.
Thank you so much, Andy. We always love to have you on board, and you always bring the community's voice. Thank you so much. And Andy is always in the subways working, even under the tracks. He will be on the meetings under the tracks with all the electrical wires. We value you, my brother. Thank you so much for being here. Next, we have Micah Morrison. Micah.
Thank you, VJ, and nice to be with you all, of course, again. I'd like to just echo what Howard and Erica said about the Zoom bomb issue. We are the, Barbara Williams, Erica, VJ, and I are on the school safety committee, and we are following up with that as well. Howard's really done some terrific work pushing it with the NYPD. We took some of these documents and we went to the FBI, to the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District. They took it very seriously, but what they are looking for is a police report, and that will help them move it forward. So we're gonna move this forward on a number of tracks, and it's a deadly serious issue. And the response we got from the U.S. Attorney was really pretty good. I want to talk, we've been out as the school safety committee, we've been out talking to the community, and I think there's been really 2 points that they keep making over and over in the recent weeks. And of course, all this is within the context of the pandemic. And I commend my colleagues and everybody for really just staying focused on that, because to me, this school year, we're fighting the pandemic. I do believe there's light at the end of the tunnel. The next academic year, we're going to be picking up the pieces. There's a great amount of work to be done. Right now, our talks to the community with numerous people, it really brings up 2 major issues. So I'm glad that our friend from the mayor's office is here, Mr. Jeff, because the one, and our UFT rep, I think alluded to this as well. The one thing I think that the parents are most upset about in the testing issue is, why are the kids only being tested in school without a parent present? And this is a big problem for a lot of parents. They don't want anybody touching their kid without them present. So the issue of the testing in the school is really what the parents have conveyed to us, is that why can't they be present at the school? And I understand, why, what the response would be, but this is what we're getting from the community, Mr. Jeff, and others, is that they don't want anyone touching their kids without them there. There's also concern that there's a civil liberties violation here with making mandatory testing in a single place, that is in the school, testing mandatory, no parent present. The third part about this is that, and this is with many members of our community, I found particularly parents of color are concerned about, where is this information going? They're taking this information, is going off to a bunch of different agencies, and then what happens to it there? So what some of the parents have suggested, and I hope that we can make a point of discussion in the weeks ahead, is, why not test kids? Why not give them the option? They can be tested at school. They can be tested in their doctor's office with a parent present, or maybe they can be tested at one of our fine New York City hospital health corporation sites. That is one of the major New York City hospitals. So that was one issue we hear from again and again and again, since our last CEC meeting. And I'll be brief. The second issue is that parents are very confused and very upset about the sudden withdrawal of any more opt-in periods later in the year. And again, you can understand the rationale from the teacher's point of view, staffing, etc. But they feel that suddenly the mayor said, you can opt in, but this is the only time you can opt in. There won't be the later opt-in periods. And I know a lot of parents were thinking, hey, we'll get through the fall flu season, get through the cold season, gets better. Maybe I'll put my kids back in school then. And the second thing that was very confusing, and pretty much, and these things happen, but pretty much as soon as the mayor said, we can opt in again, he said, we're closing the schools because it's COVID. So there's a real dual message there. And I think what we're hearing, and the school safety committee is hearing from the community, is both there's some unease with the testing. Can't we open up other options? And can we have another opt-in period later in the year? Thanks. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Micah. Thank you for all that you do. Next we have Robert Tamayev. Robert, Dr. Tamayev.
Hi, thank you all. Sorry, I'm just gonna agree with all my colleagues at this time, and I just hope we can hear from the parents a little bit. I agree with Mike on one point that I just want to bring up is my daughter was tested twice in 2 weeks. So I'm not sure how the random is done, but if the same person is being tested too many times, that doesn't really help for the full panel of the entire school. So twice in 2 weeks is, to me, that's not random. I understand that it has to be completely random, and if you flip a quarter, you can't get heads twice in a row. But in this case, it should not be completely random. It should be set up in a way where everyone gets tested at least once to ensure that that particular person might not be a carrier that's bringing it in and, spreading it to everyone else. But I agree, other than that, I'm in everything that everyone else said, and I fully agree with Mike on all his points just now. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tamayev. Next we have is Rajrinda Kaur.
Good evening, everyone. I totally agree with Robert. I also came across few parents. They are like, their child are getting tested again and again, over and over, that everyone should be tested. And second most important, they were asking me how fair they are, how true the results they are. They are not going that deep in the nose, even if their child is, not that very adult, but still how safe they are, how fair the results are. And you know what, most commonly saying to the parents are saying is, we are paying the hidden cost of our child to get them educated because they have to leave their job. But they also have to understand this thing that everybody cannot afford it. You cannot afford your child to get sent to school and get them sick. So we let them know, and parents are also over here in the meeting. Dr. Pate is here, who always helps us. And, he will always be there to answer all of our questions. They try their best. We trust our high authorities, high priorities, that they will give us a safe environment so that everybody is safe. And I request parents that we have to be very patient and we have to work together to get through all this. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajrinda, and thank you all to all our council members. You are phenomenal. You are all taking the notes from the community, and a lot of parents are reaching out to all of you, and thank you for bringing their voices here. So while I make my report, I would like to open up the chat at this time, Elena, Crystal, and to all those who want to speak, we're going to have a public comment section right after. Please just put the word speak, nothing else. Please just keep the chat nice and clean. Write the word speak, and we'll call you to say your 3 minutes of comment or question in order of when you put the word speak on the list. I just want to bring my report is pretty quick in terms, is the chat open now? Let's see here. It is, chat is enabled.
Yes, it is, VJ. Chat is now enabled.
Thank you, Elena. So please put the word speak to ask a question to any of our presenters or to make a statement. What a year. This is my report. What a year like no other. When I became president of this council, when Dr. Pate came as a superintendent in our district, we had no idea what we were coming into. When my fellow council members joined this council as a brand new council, we had no idea, from diversity planning to the pandemic to everything. We had it all. And I want to say, as we come to a close of this, calendar year, right? Not the school year, this calendar year, 2020 has brought us a lot of challenges. 2020 has brought us a lot of lessons. 2020 has brought us Crystal Weiss. 2020 has brought us all our fellow council members, Reverend Carr, Howard. We have all of you here, but 2020 has brought us together in many ways too. 2020, while it was very challenging, it provided us with a space called Zoom and all these other platforms where even though we were not sure how to do this in any way, and none of us knew how, somehow we all figured it out together. We figured it out together, and we were patient. We were resilient. We were accommodating. We were relentless. We were strong, and we continue to hold each other's hand and say, it's not to avoid the tough conversations, but it's to provide a space where we could have respectful, tough conversations. And this whole year has been a place where all of us has been discussing very, very touchy-feely subjects, right? From diversity planning to race relations, to equity to access, and equity and access and excellence. And our chancellor always talk about equity and excellence for all. I challenge him. I challenge our mayor, Mr. Jeff, please take my message back. Equity and excellence for all means for all. Our district could be used as a prototype for the whole city of disparities, of what works, what does not work. And our district, since I've been the president of this council, all I've seen is passionate parents across the aisle. All I've seen is parents who love their children. All I have seen is stakeholders fighting for what's best for everyone. And we want our mayor and our chancellor to understand that our voices matter. Many decisions were made across this year without the consultation and the input from us as elected, unpaid volunteers. I'll repeat that. From elected, unpaid volunteers as council members, many, many decisions were made without our input. The mayor should have consulted all the CECs and get surveys and get questions answered, town halls from the councils at least. What are your districts thinking about before going and making these big change and swing from left to right? And yes, we're going forward, we're staying back. We don't know, so we don't have the answers. Our principals does not know. Our superintendents are also surprised across the board. And in a time of pandemic, when we have put these people in office to hold our fort down, we felt that we were left to swim alone without life jackets. Mr. Mayor, Mr. Chancellor, please listen to our voices. Our children matter. We want to work with you, but you have to extend the olive branch and we'll work with you also. So thank you so much, all of you, for being here. Every one of you, this was a year, and guess what? We're gonna continue, because this is what the Great 28 does. We continue being great. We continue doing great things in our community, and we have a lot more to accomplish. All our principals, thank you. Thank you for being, I wish I could give you all an air hug, but I am. An air hug, a high five. Parents, please, now you understand what our principals and our educators go through. I hope you understand patience on your part is also important, and you are a partner. You are a partner in your child's education. And more so, this pandemic has highlighted the stress that teachers go through, because now a lot of you say, I can't deal with this stuff. Now you see, right? So please, let's be partners. Let's continue being great, and happy holidays, all of you. The next time we have a CEC meeting will be in the next year, 2021. And we're looking for bigger, brighter, amazing things. Research the vaccine, guys. Research the vaccine and be informed and ask the right questions. Come out to the streets and protest if you have to, if you're not getting equal and fair access to all the resources that our tax dollars pay for. So thank you. And it was a pleasure being your president so far. Our first speaker is Barbara Williams. Please go for it.
Okay, good night, everyone. Thank you all for being here on this call. Happy to see everyone healthy and in good graces. My question is, maybe it's to Dr. Pate or probably the principals. I'm not sure who's gonna answer, but since parents are not allowed to tour the school or classrooms that kids are in, I was wondering if by any chance, for the parents who wants to see the class that their kids are in, the ones that are in the school, if there could be a 2-minute video that they would show parents like myself who is interested to see the class and how it's set up and how they social distance you know, with their PPE on and everything like that, since most parents want to and we are not allowed to be in the school or the classrooms.
Thank you, Barbara. So, Dr. Page?
Sure. Well, I can't promise that we will, I can promise we will not video record students sitting in the classroom. We can absolutely share, you know, sort of a visual of what classrooms look like and have principals describe. In other words, the empty classroom, the seating and the setup of the classroom, that's perfectly fine. If you can offline the schools that you would like to see or the school you'd like to see, I'm sure that I can get that to you rather quickly. I cannot authorize video or recording students because there's privacy involved in that. And teachers may have the choice to not consent to be video in that way, but I absolutely can share the classroom layout with you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, empty classroom is okay with me. I understand. No
I can
problem.
do that. Please let me know the classroom or the school you'd like to see.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Erica, do you mind please keeping time check, please, on everyone, like 3 minutes, so we be fair to everybody. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Next person we have is Venus Ketchum. Venus? Give us a second, Venus. We are muting you.
You can unmute yourself now.
Good evening. I was just saying in my head I have to be unmuted. Good evening, everyone. My name is Venus Ketchum. I'm a parent and community leader in Southeast Queens in School District 28. And now my son David, who started at PS 140 under David Norman and then transferred to PS 161 under the extraordinary Jill Holder, and then graduated and attended MS 217 under the magnificent Principal Burns, and now is a freshman at Bayside High School. I live in Jamaica on Merrick Boulevard, so I am part of the community. Literally across the street from my home is St. Albans, which is District 29. I am passionate about the education of Black children and education in Queens South, District 27, 28, and 29. My concern is about the future of public education. Parents understanding the funding of public education. As VJ stated, we are at this time called to be partners with educators in educating our children, but there is a there are professionals who get paid to do a job. A lot of parents are struggling at home with their kids. A lot of kids are struggling at home, especially our 6 to 12 students who are expected to learn alone because, of course, most parents go to work every day. So these kids are left at home to learn alone. My concern is about the future of public education, the disparities in education across Queens specifically, school districts in Queens, Queens North and Queens South, and graduation rates and success rates, and really knowing that it's a gamble and that certain school districts are moving full steam ahead with the quality of their education and the expectations. District 24, I believe 25 and 26 have created a resolution for the chancellor. I believe that we should have a conversation about that resolution, but also really looking at the learning gaps, the achievement gaps. Even the high school superintendent was talking about the gaps within schools in our district, Queens North and the north side of our district and the south side of our district high schools, the discrepancies and the gaps just amongst our district. As Ted spoke about the disparities in our district, what I call the dividing line is Liberty Boulevard, Liberty Avenue, the south side of our district and the north side of our district that I've been bringing up for the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years. But I really am encouraging parents to understand our school system and the funding of our system. My biggest concern is that there's a group of professionals that are getting paid to do a job that now parents are
30
partners in
seconds.
doing. So I hope that parents really rally together and really demand a breakdown of how our tax dollars are being utilized to ensure the school success of every student. And if that's not happening, then things have to stop and things have to change. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Venus, so much. Next person we have is Josh Fox.
Are you all able to hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Josh Fox. I am a behavior specialist and supervisor with a Positive Learning Collaborative, a collaboration between the DOE and UFT, and I'm a school counselor by practice, and of course, a parent of a District 28 student currently enrolled in fully remote learning. I do have a child with special needs, and as you all can imagine, remote learning has been extremely difficult for him. And I think about what Mr. Meadows King shared a little while ago, and families, especially those families of kids who are vulnerable, their families are also vulnerable. In my work with schools in the Bronx and Staten Island, communities like the Claremont community, the Morris Heights community, South Bronx community, we have families who are petrified of sending their children to school because they've bore the brunt of this pandemic in terms of economic loss, loss of family, loved ones, and this I just have to elevate this fact that this plan to somehow send kids to school 5 days a week, with all the considerations that you've shared, would never work for families of vulnerable children and vulnerable children themselves. These families need, a guarantee that when they send their kids to school, they're going to be safe. And that's not going to happen in a school building full of kids 5 days a week with, many thousands, maybe even more staff who are in their homes keeping safe. So I just wanted to elevate that, and thank you all for hearing me out.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you for your comments. Continue to talk. Every month, come over. Next we have is Matthew Walker.
Hello, everybody. I hope you're able to hear me.
Yes.
Okay, great. Hello, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. My name is Matthew Walker, and I'm the outreach specialist for the Council for Airport Opportunity. I just wanted to take a brief moment just to talk about some of the job opportunities that we have available at JFK right now in light of the pandemic, given that, it's been such a difficult time for people, and a lot of people are trying to find work, especially during the holiday season, so that they can reward those that are special in their lives. Right now at JFK, they are hiring for ramp and cargo agents. The only requirement for that is that you have a driver's license. They're also hiring for security guards, and the requirement for that is just to have a security guard license through the state of New York. And then we also have a temporary position that is the snow removal truck driver position. They're actually hiring 300 positions of those immediately, as long as you just have a driver's license. That position pays between $17 an hour if you're just at the airport on standby, and it goes all the way up to $25.50 if you're actually driving the pickup truck removing snow from the tarmac. All the other positions range starting at $16.20, and they go up as high as $22 depending on experience. If you're interested in any of these positions, you can feel free to give me a phone call. My number is 347-562-2075, or you can email me at my M for Matthew, so M Walker, WALKER @caony.com. And you can visit our website, caonynj.com, for more information on everything that's going on in the community and what we are doing. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak. I really do appreciate it. And I hope that you all have a very happy and healthy holiday season and enjoy the return to in-person learning for all the elementary school parents come this upcoming Monday. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have,
sorry, I'm so sorry. Can we have the number again in the chat?
Sure. The phone number is 347-562-2075.
Thank you. Sorry.
No problem.
That's fine. We're going to have that information on our website also up. So we'll reach out to you to get the information. Jessica Zilo, I apologize. You were next, and I totally highlighted your name, but I just called on Matthew. So Jessica Zilo, please, you're next. Co-president of this council.
Hi, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Actually, I just wanted to make a quick comment and just really thank Shirley Aubin for all of her hard and tireless work this year with me as co-president, and I look forward to working with Barbara going forward. So thank you very much, and happy holidays to everyone.
Thank you so much. And Shirley Aubin, as you know, she's a powerhouse in terms of really ensuring our parents are informed and really bringing the resources and information across the board. And she believed big on in collaboration across the district. And I wish we could use DOE funds to give awards. That would be great. Not to pay something you can think about, trophies. We have to highlight our parents. Our parent leaders are not acknowledged. So we need to start finding a way, DOE, to provide funds separate in our account to really highlight and thank with a certificate, a trophy, or something for our parent leaders. Shirley Aubin, thank you. Next we have is Jean Han.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, Jean.
Hi, I don't have any questions per se. I just want to reiterate the frustrations, so it's on the record, because I don't know that it really came up tonight, about gifted and talented testing dates, and also middle school admissions, and also the SHSAT testing dates. I know we're all waiting. I just want it on the public record that the public still wants to know. I'm a parent leader for District 28, and I am getting questions about gifted and talented. So it's very frustrating, as it is, I imagine, for all of you to not have an answer. So that being said, I want to circle back to what Michael and Robert were bringing up about the testing. I want to make a point that it's also an issue for immigrants to have to, many immigrants tend to be, if they come from a conservative culture, they do not want their child touched, period. And they would like their child to be in the room. I know that because my husband's an immigrant, and I know that culture very well. They would like to be able to have that option. And for the DOE to mandate that it can only be done at school, it seems to be a bit of a government overreach. I think that all the testing data goes back to HHC. It's a matter of tracking and tracing. So if it can be tracked and traced through HHC, then why not let the parent test at one of the many number of city sites that are available? They just opened up more. It doesn't take long. So just putting that out there. And lastly, the other thing that I wanted to mention with regards to school reopening is the opt-in. It really just feels like there's a distrust with the Department of Education on a number of issues, not just, from some parents, from a lot of parents, just on how they reopened, treated reopening. And I think there's common ground with many different people coming from many different perspectives on this one. And for them to come back and say, we're gonna have this many opt-in periods, and now they're gonna say, no, we're not, it just adds and exasperates that distrust. So if there is a way that there could be at least one more opt-in period, I think that would be fair for the parents that were waiting for the flu season to be over. So that's it.
30 seconds.
I have nothing else. Thank you so much. Everybody have a good night.
Thank you, Jean. Thank you so much. Good night.
VJ, you skipped me?
No, I come. Who's that's?
This is Effie Zachary. You skipped me. Just to let
I was gonna call you next, Effie. Effie Zachary. There you go.
Hi everyone. Good evening. I have a few things to different people. If they can just pay attention a little bit. Cynthia Schneider, first welcome, and I'm kind of curious to know exactly who you replaced. Also, I would like to know if there's any way we can kind of form a CEC forum similar to what we have here for high schools in Queens. We have, I think, one general for the city. I'm not finding it effective at all. I think maybe one for Queens would be more effective. Is something we can look into. As you can see here, it's very effective in terms of getting parental feedback and also, parents' involvement. The next comment I have is for Harris Khan from the Controller's Office. I'm just wondering why we're letting the schools, the city spend so much money on iPads. Laptops are much cheaper, and Chromebooks probably can go for 1/3 of the price of an iPad. And not to mention that it's so much easier for typing. It's very hard to type on an iPad. Most students, I think, would benefit from Chromebooks much more than from an iPad, not to mention the economics of that. My third comment is for Jeff from the mayor's office. I'm very baffled by the policies that like, you know, the back and forth. And also, I am realizing that rates overall have increased in the city. However, we keep hearing how safe the schools are. They're only roughly 0.2%. So why close them? I mean, why close a place that is safe? That's only when we get to dangerous levels, in my opinion, it should be closed. I think people are so focused on the virus, they're completely neglecting many other aspects of life. The mental health of the kids, the social interactions that they require, the economics of parents who are struggling, you know, during this time. This all the time shifting and extremely short notice is very, very tough on many, both parents and students.
Thank you. If you want to leave time for your answers, so as to leave
right.
so they could answer your question. So we start with Cynthia Schneider.
Hi, good to have a question. I am acting superintendent. Superintendent Juan Mendez is on leave. I was his deputy, and so I moved up to the acting superintendency. That's the big question. The high school, it's not really high school CEC, but it's very, very similar. The high school has the President's Council, and all the presidents of their schools, right? The
30 seconds.
I'm losing my words, it's too late. But anyway, the President's Council is made up of all the presidents of the
PTA presidents.
PTA, thank you. Gosh, why couldn't I think of that? So all the PTA presidents meet there once a month, and it acts like the CEC. But that's what we have.
But parents are not involved directly like here in that forum.
Right. Only through this.
Sorry, but I want to give everyone a chance to answer your question, Ify. So you asked several questions. So let's just give everyone a chance to answer.
Okay, time's up.
Yeah, Harris can.
Sure, yeah, I mean, that's a great question. What I do know is I don't know what the DOE is doing. What we're proposing is we need to have a 1-to-1 ratio with devices, period, going forward. This has completely changed the city's, landscape for education, and this has to be continued. And I think we're saying iPad for elementary students, laptops for middle school and high school. That's the controller's position.
Thank you.
I don't know what the DOE, where the DOE stands, and I have no idea what they've been doing. You're talking about disparities or what device is best. There's literally students who don't have a device. I think that's even a worse situation that we're in currently.
Thank you, Harris. Dr. Pate, anything to add about his questions? You're muted.
The later it gets. With regard to laptops and iPads, I would say that schools are primarily purchasing laptops and Chromebooks where possible. We have been gifted a number, including your officer, we've been gifted a number of Chromebooks that we are sharing with students. Obviously, we are not in charge of the DOE's purchase of technology, and we do understand and agree with regard to the best fit technology for our growing students, and that Chromebooks are a better fit for students who are moving up. I would even say as early as 3rd and 4th grade that keyboarding is back if it ever went anywhere, right? Back in the day, we had typing. And so that's where we are with that. As to policy, Jeff had to step away from the meeting today because he had another meeting. And so I will not answer for the mayor at this point. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Rafael Lena.
Hi, yeah, thank you very much. I'm a parent of an elementary school child in District 28, and I had some questions regarding kind of district level numbers with regards to remote learning, just because I know it's great that there's maybe 150, 200,000 kids are able to go back to school in elementary, but the large majority of kids in the city are not, and they're staying remote. They chose that. And so I'm trying to get a sense of, by District 28, what is that breakdown? Because I think the buildings themselves are a great resource, and we've given that resource over, but there's still a ton of resources needed for remote learning, as we heard just now about tech access, Wi-Fi access. So I'm wondering, I keep hearing about 60,000 kids without a device. What's that breakdown in District 28? What's the breakdown of kids who maybe haven't had Wi-Fi access and therefore haven't logged on yet to school, and it's still November? Do we have those numbers? Do we have them by school? What's the outreach for those kids? Like, those things all require resources and money. And I feel like that's kind of where our attention needs to be now for the rest of the school year, given that whatever we want to say about opt-in windows, we had our opt-in window for now, and this is what we're dealing with. And I'm just curious what we can do as a district to really uplift and center and prioritize the remote learners now, and what they need. So if I'm not sure if that's something Dr. Pate can answer, but
Right.
maybe now.
So we do have that information. While you were speaking, I looked through really quickly. So I can't pull the exact numbers for how many students are fully remote or blended. I can tell you that in District 28, we're at approximately 58 to just about 60% for all schools of students who are fully remote, meaning that the complement of that, so roughly 40% of our students are in person. That, you can imagine, drastically, varies from school to school. There are some schools who it's a normal day in the neighborhood. They don't have a very large number of students who are fully remote. With regard to technology, we are actively tracking technology. Our last number, and Sonia, you can back me up, we're somewhere in the neighborhood. So without the Chromebook donations factored in, we were in the neighborhood of 2,300 computers still outstanding that had yet to be delivered to students. And so of 26,000 students,
30 seconds.
I'm sorry, 2,300 are still awaiting technology, and we're working fast and furious on that.
That's correct, Dr. Pate.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Santrice K.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, I'm sorry. My name is Chantrice Keller, and I am on this meeting on behalf of Senator Leroy Comrie. I just wanted to be able to greet all of you and thank you for your persistent efforts on behalf of the children in your district. And really the work for the children in your district is work for all children in all districts. I have 3 children myself. They are not in District 28, but they are in District 24, 25, and 26. I live in District 29. I'm always in District 28 and have many friends and family there. So the senator just wants you to all know that we are here. We want to be able to work with you, assist the parents, assist the CECs, assist the PTAs. And we thank Dr. Pate for all the work that she's doing to support the parents as well. The principals, the mayor's office, it's difficult, and we're not always going to all sit at the table and agree, but it's important that we're all at the table and that we're all together. So the senator definitely would like for you to reach out if you have any questions at all, if you need any support, any information. We are here. We enjoy your meetings. They're always jam-packed with information and support for the parents, and that is very comforting and provides the steady hand that some parents are not feeling in other ways, and that is certainly part of what we need from our parent leadership. So we really want to thank you for that. And if anyone wants to reach us, of course, you can always call the office, but also you can reach me remotely. It will go directly to my cell phone. It's 929-242-9637. I would normally drop it in the chat, but I can't. So I just wanted to let you all know that. And if you call the office, anybody call the office, we'll be happy to try to assist you in any way possible.
Thank you so much, Santrice. So I'll make my call right now. So Santrice, and to Harris Khan, I would love to have recognition certificates from your office for all my council members. So here it is. I'm telling you, please, I'll reach out to you personally. And I'd like to have one also for our President's Council staff. So before the end of the year, that'll be great. So I know Chantrice and Harris County will work greatly with me in getting this for our council members. Thank you so much in advance. Thank you, Chantrice.
Can I email that? Can I drop my email in the chat for you, or someone can reach out to me and I'll be happy to talk to our chief of staff about it.
I have your number right away. Believe me, it's gonna
Yes.
happen.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you so much. And we want to have a citation for our superintendent. Thank you. Okay. Here we go. We gotta do it. You know, we gotta do this. Let's do this.
Oh.
Thank you. Next, we're gonna have. I think that was the end of our speakers, but we have one person missed already. Could show you Sherry Algredo. She was now putting in to speak, and then it switched to like end.
My name is Sherry Algredo. I'm the education chair with Community Board 9 and also the first vice chair of the board. I have to say I started attending the CEC28 meeting when they started the diversity talk. I made it in the room that day. And I must say I was very impressed. We have 5 schools, just 5 schools that's in CEC28. But I was very impressed with this, the entire CEC and the way you guys function. I mean, I get so much information when I attend your meetings that I make it my business that I want to, you know, be there. And Dr. Pate, I saw when you just came on and you've done an awesome job. And I just want to commend you guys. I was ending my end of year in June and I couldn't figure out how I was going to write my report. And I kind of stole Vijay, did like a whole synopsis from the beginning to the end, what happened during the year. And I said, oh, that's the perfect way to end. And I borrowed it without his permission, but I did, you know, I used the same format. And I just want to say, you guys are such a great team. Whatever you're doing, keep it up and happy holidays and see you guys in the new year.
Thank you so much, Sherry. And also, we would love to have, you know, recognitions from your office for all of our council members. Thank you so much.
We'll work on it.
Thank you. Thanks for all that you do in Community Board 9 and being education liaison, and an amazing work that you do, all volunteer work. Thank you so much. And just to be fair to everybody else, I know we had two more community boards with us here tonight. Heather, you are here. Can you please just say a few words, Heather, really quickly, from Community Board 6? I think you're still on, Heather.
Hi, yeah, good
There
evening.
you are.
I just have to say, it was, what was it, Sunday morning, halfway sitting through virtual church, I was getting messages on my phone about the new changes. And I have to say that seeing the work that has been done by the teachers over and over and over again, it's been a marathon and y'all are still in it. And I am so grateful. You know, over the summer when I was working with Sage, because I was sort of hanging on because, you know, there was a lot to be done and my kids are now in high school. The work that was being done then and being redone, it was so much. And now we're back again. And I just want to say thank you all for everything you're doing. You know, I know that there's a lot. I spoke with a lot of parent coordinators last week and the week prior, trying to learn about how many devices were outstanding in Community Board 6. And I have to say, parent coordinators are amazing. The additional work that they're doing, the tech support that they're supplying, that they're trying to supply is just amazing. And so to me, I think that they're the unsung heroes. I've always loved my parent coordinators, but man, what these guys are doing. And some of them, you know, they're being very creative and they carry this in their hearts. They're not just like, this isn't just something that they do. This is something, you know, and I go back, Dr. Pate, to what you said. You got to have the will to do the job. And let me tell you, I think these parent coordinators have beyond the will to do this job. And I think that, you know, I'm ever so grateful. So just thank you for recognizing CB6 tonight. We're ever so grateful and we're here. You let us know what you need us to help you with and partner with. You know, we're trying to problem solve different things within our side of the world, you know, but we're here to work. And hey, to my other CB9 and CB12 people, you know, maybe the three of us should maybe get together and do more work and work cooperatively to be more supportive of CEC. And I'd love to do that. Have a happy holiday, everybody. And I really hope that our educators and administrators get some rest because you all need it.
Thank you so much, Heather, and thank you for the work that you do tirelessly in our community and serving Community Board 6 and our community. And you always at our meetings, so thank you so much for really being diligent. And also, certificates of recognition would be great for our volunteer parents. We would love that. So please, thank you so much in advance. Last but not least, my dear friends, we have Vanessa Sparks, who had invited Dr. Pate and myself to her Community Board 12 meeting this past November. And Dr. Pate and I were up in full gears on that meeting. And I tell you, that was a great meeting. Vanessa Sparks, you have 2 minutes, please.
Hi, good evening and happy holidays to all of you. Hope all of you and your families are doing well. So I bring you greetings from the Education Committee, from Community Board 12, representing the communities of Jamaica, South Jamaica, Addersley Park, St. Albans, and Hollis. I'm very glad I did see both of you at our last Community Board meeting. Wow, all of these C's. And I want to apologize because our chairperson canceled our last November 17th Education Committee meeting the day before, so there was not enough time to notify you. I once again invite you to our next Community Board meeting. In fact, I did send a text to someone for them to text me with the date, but I believe it's going to be this coming Wednesday. I will double check. I would love for you guys to be there, and so much if you can email me or call me tomorrow or Friday, because I would like to have both you and Dr. Pate give an opportunity to speak. They don't hear enough from CEC28, Community Board 12. We are in the southern part of District 28. And I would like to see a lot more collaboration and communication between this CEC and that community board, particularly around the issue that happened with the 113th precinct, which you know is in Community Board 12. Right. So with that, I bid everyone a great holiday, everyone that's on the Zoom, a great holiday to you and your families. And I look forward to seeing you guys at our next community board meeting.
Thank you so much. We are trying to actually go around to other ones, so we can't promise you that we will go to yours back to back, but definitely we'll keep it in mind and we will try to make our rounds as we do so. And also our fellow council members, please take notice. There's these community board meetings. We can all go and bring back messages from the council. But thank you so much for the work that you do, Vanessa Sparks, for your team at CB12. And across the city. And again, I'll also echo the same thing. Please, our council members are volunteers, and we would love to get the recognition from your office, from your council board, community board for our members. Thank you so much. My dear friends, we have come to the end of our meeting today. We are grateful for all of you for being here today. Last but not least, I'll just share something really quickly to all of you. During this pandemic, we have seen a lot of food insecurities in our community, and food, my dear friends, you know, to me, I always believe food is the greatest gift on earth. If we don't have it, we die, right? So the United Madrasi Association, together with Queen's Defenders, the lawyers at the Queen's Court, we are partnering to give out free food this Saturday. Please, 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 Sonia Roweda, have shared this out to our parent coordinators and to our President's Council team, but also please take this information down. It'll be on our website. Saturday at 1 p.m. free food, 30-pound box of food, plus supplies and masks and hand sanitizers. It's in the community in the southern part of Jamaica here. We're looking forward to anyone who has any questions. Please, 917-207-4655, 917-207-4655. A quick text and you can get this flyer to share to the community. First come, first serve. Let's heal our community one person at a time. I thank all of you for being here tonight, and we thank you for your patience with us all. We are a wonderful team. To my fellow council members, we are the best. We are the best, and the universe put all of us together to work through this time. And I think we have the best team, in my opinion, and I'll be biased about that. We do have the best team of in every area, all right? So thank you all. Dr. Pate, I'll actually say the final word, please, as our superintendent, please.
I just want to give gratitude on tonight. I fought to not shake my head no as people gave accolades to me, and it's the most incredible thing because it's the agreement that we've made as a community to uplift and support each other. That's how all of this gets done. I don't really believe in superheroes, right? It's great to see in the movie. It really is about our community working together to get the job done. And so I just want to express gratitude. Went a season of commemoration and also thankfulness. And now we're moving into a holiday season. If you celebrate any of the holidays, it's really about us. And I challenge you to keep me accountable. I challenge you to respond to my request for accountability so that together we improve the areas that are most in need of improvement and we dream big together. Our new district mission cites inestimable contribution to all mankind, to all of humanity. And that's grand. But here's the look behind my curtain and my mental model. We need to have an estimable contribution to our students and through them, all mankind. So I want to thank you for letting me do this work and thank you for you doing the work.
Thank you so much. So my dear friends, we're going to have our business meeting right here. It's now 8:54. At 9 p.m. we'll start our business meeting. Same link right here. You can stay on board. Parents and families, you can stay on board and observe the meeting, but you can't comment. But feel free at this point to unmute, unmask, take off your screen thing, and let's hear your voices. Please, everybody, go ahead, do for it.
Hey, everybody.
There you go. Hi, Venus. There's Venus. You see your face.
Hey. Okay.
Good night, everyone.
Crystal, thank you so much. Sonia, thank you so much. We had 15 D28 principals on tonight.
Woo! That's a record. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Hey, Venus. Oh,
Yeah,
it's so good to
unmute.
meet you all.
Can they all unmute, Elena, at this point?
Yes, everyone can unmute and the chat is wide open right now. We trust you completely.
Can you unmute everybody? Or
I did already.
no, I still see microphones. Look,
Well, they can unmute themselves. I don't want to just unmute everyone if they have like background noises going on.
we'll hear music.
Oh, Sarafi, to see you
Harris
here.
Khan, thank you for being here, Harris. Cynthia Schneider, thank you so much.
No, thank you all. Thank
Tamina,
you
thank
so
you
much.
for being
Thank
here.
you so much. Thank you to our parent coordinators
Hi,
that are here
Sonia.
this evening.
All of our
Thank
you all.
Good night, everyone.
Hey, said we were gonna hang out one night.
Where's the music? Where's the music?
Hey, Shirley. How are you? Principal Signal. Hey there.
Good night.
Good
night, everyone.
Good night. My dad's name.
Good night.
Hello, Simone. How are you?
Hey, Miss Asbury.
Remy.
PS121. Yeah, you're here.
Hey, Miss
Simone Dornbach.
Hey, Grego. How are you?
Okay, I'm
Oh,
fantastic.
good.
Hey, Erica Cooper.
Jeanette
Lee,
Williams.
how are you?
Thank you for
Hey,
being
Hi.
here.
Oh, there's so many faces. Look at here.
So happy to see so many faces.
Oh, we did good tonight, huh?
Yes. Principal Greco, thank you for everything.
Yes.
Thanks.
Saba, how are you?
I didn't hear you. What you said?
Thank you for coming over to the SLT meeting over at Sage.
You guys don't play here. Oh my goodness. You guys have a meeting, man. I tell you.
Yeah. 28 don't play.
That SLT meeting was serious. It was a lot of information. Wow. I was like, it's a mini CC, but it was great. It was amazing. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
There you go.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
Good stuff. Y'all be blessed. Stay safe. Max, take care. Ari, be well. Lisa, everyone, be well. Stay safe, everyone.
And no commute home from the district office. How awesome is that? You can go straight to your kitchen.
Safe and healthy.
There you go. No commute from the office. Everybody.
Benefits.
I'm gonna commute from one side of the room to the next.
Seema Singh, thank you for being here, Seema Singh. Good to see you here.
Okay, it's good to see you, Howard.
Thank you guys so much.
You are
Happy
well.
holidays.
Happy holidays.
All right.
Present on the Your
holidays,
College Master
everybody.
Program, Seema, one day, please.
Happy holidays, everyone. Have a great night.
I will.
Happy holidays. Good night.
Evie, be well. It's good to see you.
Bye.
Same here. I wrote, that's what you get for putting up lights. I lost my voice.
Oh, wow.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Patricia Lyons, sibling.
Have a safe holiday.
Yes.
Thank you. You too.
Are you a member of the leadership team in the community? Are you a parent?
Patricia, you're asking who you are.
Oh, I am a teacher. I am a teacher.
wow.
at PS 40 now. I worked at PS 140 for about 28 years straight.
Wow.
And but I started 32 years ago. I started at PS 40 as a paraprofessional.
Oh wow.
And then I went around the district, and I worked at PS 40, PS 160, PS 174. And then when I became a teacher after 4 years, I went back to PS 140 and I worked there for 28 years straight.
Can we get a recognition for you too, please? A certificate for you, please.
Thank you. But I have the pleasure now of going full circle. I'm back at PS 40 now with Miss Branker. And I also, want to share that it's destiny because my daughter, who's 34, I took her with me to PS 40 as a paraprofessional.
Oh, wow.
I'm in the same classroom that she went to kindergarten in. I'm working in that room.
What?
Full circle.
Yeah. So it's full circle. It's like it was meant to be. There are no coincidences.
Yeah.
True.
That is just funny. Wow.
I feel so blessed. And I'm taking the tour before I retire. So
there you go.
Thank you so much for being here. Here come Ben Kadra.
Yes. Dr. Pate, it's so nice to meet you. Mr. VJ, it was wonderful meeting you. And thank you for taking the time to even speak to me.
Thank you, of course.
Wow. Yes, hopefully I will be in attendance at the next meeting as well. I used to come to
Thursday every month
in person, and that was a whole big thing. The room would be packed. So this is wonderful to sit on my couch.
Yes.
And go to.
Thank you. Tina Lewis, El Serafi. Did I say it?
Yeah, she's one of our assistant principals.
You?
Yes.
No, but you can unmute yourself. You can unmute. Oh, really?
Now I can unmute myself. Hi, everyone. I'm AP.
Oh, look at your baby.
Yes.
Which school are you the assistant principal for?
I'm at PS 140 with Principal Robin Hasbury Signal.
Oh, nice. Very nice. You're my neighboring school. I vote at your school, actually.
Oh, very nice.
Yes, Oswald kept